Thank you, Chairman Roy. I will be introducing HB 287. I feel like there was a certain way I was supposed to say that, but it's my first time, so bear with me. My name is Jodi Newell. I am representing Cheshire 4, which is a little slice of heaven over there in Keene. So the bill that I'm introducing today, removing testing equipment from the definition of drug paraphernalia in the Controlled Drug Act. That actually should be testing and analyzing equipment. I'm going to keep it very brief. It is a very, very brief piece of legislation. It's pretty quick. I think you probably would have read through it in about 2 minutes. So I will try not to take up a whole lot of time. So the idea of removing this from the definition of drug paraphernalia is that there is a little bit of confusion and vagueness around what is considered drug paraphernalia and then how that gets used, how people are responsible. I think we're all familiar with fentanyl test strips and things like that. That would fall under this heading. But it includes other ones like spectrometer and things like that. We all know that we have a substance use issue. The opiate overdose crisis is still raging in New Hampshire. Fortunately, in contrast to a lot of other states, our overdose deaths went down. I would like to call out the fact that it was the accessibility and the encouraged use of harm reduction tools that allowed that, because overdoses themselves did not go down. Overdose deaths went down. People were able to reduce those deaths because the availability of Narcan, a variety of different overdose harm reduction tools. Fentanyl test strips are something that we want to encourage people to use, right? We want people to be able to have this so that they do not die because there was something that was in their drugs that they did not know was there. Now, we don't really want to encourage use, but if someone is going to use, if we are dealing with reality, what we could do is we can reduce the harm on that person. Providing things like this provide for people to knowledgeably use substances, and it saves lives. It has been proven over and over. I have studies I can send you. To illustrate the idea of why this particular drug paraphernalia and the categorization of drug paraphernalia and what the implications are of having something like this as under that heading, I'd like to just share a short story. And like I said, I'm going to keep it brief. My boys and I were driving across the country. We did this a whole lot when they were little. It was probably 10 or 11 years ago. They were still toddlers. They were still in booster seats and car seats. We'll just say that. And we're driving across the country. We were going through Arkansas, and there's a lot of highway traffic. And so I said, oh, I'm just going to take this alternate route. We get off on this alternate route. And unfortunately, apparently, I was still driving like I was on the highway. So I got pulled over. I was speeding, going about 10 miles above the speed limit. Well, the officer pulls me over, and it's a veteran, and he's training a rookie. And he comes over to my window, and he's kind of, the passenger side window, and is kind of leaning over and talking to me through that window. We're talking about speeding and where am I coming from. I had Massachusetts plates at the time, and here I am in Arkansas. And he mentions to me, he says, what is that smell? I said, well, I'm not sure what that smell is because I'm driving in a car with my toddlers. So I don't smoke in my car, but I do smoke. He says, well, what brand of cigarettes do you smoke? I said, oh, well, there's not really a brand. I roll my own, and he's very curious about that. And I said, here I have my setup because, when I take a break and want to get out of the car, I have my whole setup over here to roll up a cigarette, right? So I have a box of tubes, I have a big bag of tobacco, and then I have this crank machine where you just kind of put the tube with the filter on the end of it, you put the tobacco in, boom, you crank it, wonderful. Great little machine, handy dandy. Well, he did not know what that was. And even though I was explaining to him and I had the entire setup there, he decided that that was drug paraphernalia, a tobacco rolling setup. So because he decided that, that allowed him to be able to search my car, get my children and I out of the car, ask me to get out, pull out the car seats, the booster seat, all that kind of stuff. I'm sitting on the side of basically some random route in Arkansas, humiliated out of my mind for about 30 to 45 minutes because this officer decided that this was drug paraphernalia. And because of that, he was able to steal my property. He took my property, my rolling machine, which is wonderful because I have that because I'm broke and it saves you money, but okay. takes my property. He pulls everything out of my car. We're on a 6 to 8 week road trip. Do you want to know how much stuff was in my car? There was a lot. Pulls out the booster seats, all this kind of stuff. Me and my toddler children on the side of the road. Of course, he's going through everything and he's thinking that, every little cigar box is going to be hit the jackpot. Oh, we're going to find the weed. We're going to find something. No, he found nothing. There was nothing in my car. Because he considered this drug paraphernalia, it allowed him to take possession of my property. It allowed him to negate my civil liberties and search my car. And it allowed him to humiliate me on the side of the road. This is a minor story. So, and at the end of the day, I have a charge for drug paraphernalia possession because he decided that that was drug paraphernalia. So the importance of identifying what is and what isn't drug paraphernalia, I find very important for our civil liberties and to be able to save lives in this situation as far as we're talking about the overdose crisis. I'm going to wrap it up there. I do have the RSA that this is included in. I'll pass it around. I have copies for everyone so that you can see where this fits into the Controlled Drug Act. And yeah, open any questions.